Member for Hawthorn.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And I was going to begin with some texts, the texts for today, but I really can't let the member for Gembrook get too far away there. And I just want to talk about elephants briefly. And it's called, it's the concept of elephant in the room. And so when I hear this talk about you've been in government for 18 years of 22. And in my 3 years here, that's a favourite theme. On any topic you can think of that is quoted, you've had 18 years and you haven't done anything. Whereas we've been so polite here that no one has ever said how outrageous it is that the opposition has been the opposition for 18 years and needs to take a good hard look at itself and say what's gone wrong. Why is it that we just can't make any headway as a Liberal Party or as a national party? It's outrageous, and I believe Victorians deserve better. Victorians deserve some. Victorians deserve some good turnover at times. Not immediately. I'm looking forward to the next term, but they do deserve a bit of this. So the elephant, Madam Acting Speaker.
Order.
The elephant is the 18 years of absolute despair opposite, and the need for a lot of a good hard look at yourself, as I say in circles. So we might come back to that one, but I just found it very disappointing. The Gembrook then was making this mock defence of the member for Broadmeadows and then hoeing into the member for Footscray, trying to make them enemies. That failed, of course. And on we go. However, let's move to the texts, my text for today, as a good clergyman would say. Here is my first text. It comes from Mr Davis in The Other Place. He's normally the expert on gotchas. I sometimes call him, nicely, the Minister for Gotcha. Well, here he is. There are many things I disagree with the current state government on, but one thing that we are in full agreement on is that Victoria hasn't had a fair deal on many of these national programs. This is your man. Victorians have got to keep talking about this. We've got to keep putting our view. The only way Commonwealth authorities and other states will be moved is by jawboning them, talking and making our political point that Victoria has done very poorly out of the Commonwealth. As a Victorian, that's a noble stand, as a Victorian, I'd say we're getting a little bit sick of propping up all the other states year after year after year. Victoria has to get a fairer share long haul than we have had over many years. Well, can I just say that on that comment, I think that one's actually fairly honest. I think he's our person in this regard. Whereas the opposition will be saying, oh, you didn't get it because you didn't ask nicely, or we weren't sure that you were going to use, paternalistically, we weren't sure that you'd use the money wisely, and look what you did with this particular thing or that particular thing, which we all know is rubbish, of course. And so I'm right behind the member in The Other Place. But then we also have the member for Ripon, who says, I want to start by agreeing with the member of Fallara that Victoria has been dudded on GST receipts for many years. I note that Victoria has been a donor state since Federation. It is about time West Australia understood that we have been a donor state to them since Federation. These are fighting words, my friends, and they should be sharing the wealth of their resources boom with the whole of the country. And then finally, from the leader, the current leader, who says, in response to Minister Allen pointing out Victoria's not getting our fair share, now she wants more money. Grow the hell up. That was the strength of his advice there. So let's think about this a bit more. As you know, I'm from Hawthorn, and my local federal member is the senior Liberal, the Treasurer, who is a fine, pleasant man. I know him well. However, he is, of course, often called their Vino. Victoria in name only. That's the nickname in Kooyong, Vino. And I think that when I compare some of the exes, like Ted Baillieu, for example, if I could say, who is really interested in Victoria and a very, very formidable character. One of my predecessors, in fact, in Hawthorn, and compare that to this person, nice person, but Vino nonetheless. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. So I wanted to just say that one of the things that, and I'm just talking generally, I think I've got all the other stuff here, but I think one of the things that's difficult for me is the way the Prime Minister constantly tells people in the most selfish way, it's your money, and repeats this, it's your money, without a skerrick of a mention of the general good. What your money is being used for the general good never gets mentioned. It's the most selfish sort of thing, and it appeals to otherwise good human beings who like to repeat that mantra, it's your money, without any thought of, well, how is that money going to be used? What particular projects, what particular issues, and so on. And I think it's a pity, because all you do is just repeat that over and over, and suddenly you can become as selfish as anything. 2016, I was handing out how to vote in the federal election, and this fellow came up to me and he said, I'm not going to vote for your people because I think it's dreadful what you're saying about franking credits, you see. And I said to him, well, look, I'm retired, as I was then in 2016. I'm self-funded retiree, and I would benefit, but I said I don't lose too much, and that's one of the issues. But I like to think it is going on a good cause. Now, I might not choose, submarines, for example, but I would choose other forms of social welfare, or not other forms, but choose social welfare. And I said to him, you lose a bit, etc., etc. Do you know what? I know you won't believe this, but we hear lots of these stories, don't we, on both sides about many people say, or Susan said, or Stephanie did this, and all that sort of business. He said, you know what, John? He said, I'm going to vote for your people, because I'd never thought of it that way, that franking credits are there to serve some good, apart from just trying to make life difficult for him. So where is this leading? It's leading to the fact that this budget has given us, sorry to say, more of the same. And I just have to just maybe point out a couple of other things as well while we're here, while I'm on my feet. My own idea is, when I came into this place, to look for a society, or seek to have a society that is fair, productive and compassionate. And we know that you can't have any one of those commodities without the other. So it's no good being as fair as you like or as compassionate as you like if there's no productivity. We're not stupid. There has to be productivity. There's no doubt about that. But what concerns me, though, are a notion that all that matters is productivity, trickle down, that sort of stuff. That's what really does worry me, I must say, when people just ignore the fairness and the compassion. Although I might say they're all for that, but basically it's about productivity only. And I think that, I've seen that in different aspects that are there in that budget. If I could just come home in the last minute or so and just refer to Hawthorn, just so that we don't get this idea that, the Liberals are careful with money and we're wasteful with it. $65 million worth of car parks, 4 car parks, suddenly cancelled by Mr Frydenberg because that wasn't going to work for the election. So they've gone. The federal government offered $260 million to remove Glenferrie Road level crossing, but it was $100 million short, with no idea as to where the other 100, would be. 6% of budget infrastructure for Victoria, which has over 25% of the population, 25 billion less GST money than New South Wales. I think you get the picture. I think you probably understand why I'm quite cynical about any sort of defence. Thank you.